From Raw and Radical, this is On Display, a podcast about extraordinary women in the arts, their true stories and inspiration. I am Maren Brodbeck, and every episode features a conversation with one great woman in the arts or music. There are dialogues about real-life challenges, exploring what it means to be a woman in creativity. Today we have a very special artist that plays with beauty, intimacy and the body. She works with the photographic medium in a very aesthetical and beautiful way that most of the time hides deep societal pains and bruises, a reflection of where we are today. Hi Marta, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for the invitation.
So you live and work in Lublin, Poland. You have a MFA in photography, in Theatrology and Journalism.
Yes, it's true.
I saw you work at DongGang Contemporary in Geneva, Switzerland, and you are showing different body of work there. And I was wondering if you can tell me about your process, how your photography evolved through time, and how it relates to the feminine, the human body, and your own body, actually.
I think that the most important thing is that the basis for my artistic practice is always a private motivation. And the most important moment is the time when I had a serious car accident and I was really near to death. And it was the beginning of my serious presence in art, because I made a photo series post which is based on this car accident and also on my problem with mental with neurosis which I had that time. I always take things from my own private life, and this is my main inspiration, and I think that this is some kind of material which I use in work. Everything started a few years ago when I had a serious car accident and I was really near to death. And this is also why I show now in the DongGang Contemporary few series, because the post series, which I finished a few years ago, is some background for my current works. And I think that through this very serious car accident and how it brutally, interfered in my body, my body crossed the border, and it naturally became a tool, a material in my artistic work. So from that time, I have no blockades to using my body to study the reality, to think about the reality. So this is some moment, some point when I decided, and when I started to feel to be obligated to talk about the world in this way. So using my body, using my experiences to talk about the things which are important in my opinion.
Yeah. So in this work you talk about fears and anxiety and trauma, neurosis. Can you explain a bit how that came to you and how you decided to translate that visually?
I started to work on post-series when I found in my family home the note from my teacher when I was, it was written when I had around 7 years old. And it was a letter to my teacher, like an evaluation note after the first class in the primary school. I didn't know that it exists. And when I read it, I think that something is not at right place. I felt a little confused because everything in this note is brilliant. That I was a gold child in every field, and my memories are totally different because I remember that I was good at school, but the sentences about be friendly, open, and no problem with friendship with other children. It's something which, in my memory, didn't happen. So when I found this note, I had a really serious problem with my mentality. I had a strong neurosis and fears. This was a very strong moment and strong point, which gave me the impact to start to work with the personal things. I decided to do it. So the first works which I made in a post-serious attempt to close some fears in the aesthetic image, to try to give the attention to the audience. Very important is that this letter and the neurosis was the beginning of the process. And the car accident is in the middle. It's not at the beginning of
All right.
working on this series. But one day, some of my fears, which are focused on health, life, etc., it's started to be a reality. So my everyday life changed totally because I had broken spine and I was from 1 month in hospitality, in intensive therapy, etc. Had a few surgeries, so everything is totally different in one moment. But I decided to continue this work, and I finished the post series in a few years. I think that every image is very difficult for me because I made about 25 photographs in 4 years or something like this. So it's a long and not fast process.
Would you say that it was a healing process for you to actually do this work? Because a lot of times we create with our trauma, it becomes a healing process. Would you say it was or it was an expression? How would you describe this?
So for me, this is a process of taking the most important things from my surrounding. So I really don't think about it like some therapy or something like this, because I don't know what result it could give me or another people. For me, it's more about find some common feelings and some common structure which we have in the trauma experiences, and to give some kind of mirror for the viewer who could feel the same in her or his private life. So for me, my life is like a material which I'm looking on it, and I'm taking from it. And I'm thinking what subject is the most important for me at this specific moment. I think it's the same in all type of art, that some people who are very focused on social problems or some problems with, I don't know, ecology or any current affairs. They just take the things which are the most important for them.
Yeah.
When I'm a person, a woman, who are constructed in this way that I'm really fragile and I'm really on one side I'm a strong, but from the different side I have all time the very big difficulties with contact, with thinking, with believing in me, etc. So it started to be your full reality. So you just take the subject from it and you look on your personality, how it grows and how it changes.
Yeah. This is interesting. I saw a couple photographed from the Drift series, and they are very dark, and they're very beautiful, right? There's always an element of beauty in your work, even if it talks about trauma. And I think you were very successful at transferring emotions to the viewer in this work. And for me, it's a very successful mirror of some emotional state. It feels also very claustrophobic.
I think maybe this is the most emotional work which I have, because it's focused on my feelings which I had, which I could remember from the time of medical coma which I had.
Yeah.
And it was the strongest memory which I had. All things around the car accident, which not so strong as the memories from the time when I was laying in bed and I didn't have the contact with the reality, but had some memories from that time. And in post-series, I didn't try to talk about this subject. I was focused more about the tension which we have in the everyday life, in our personal life. I try to say about our everyday life, about our everyday fears, about our everyday tension which we have inside us because of experiences, because of past, because of childhood. So the Drift series is some additional chapter which give a full view of this my private landscape.
So this private landscape you're talking about, I quite like that term actually. You're talking about having insecurities within your life, your work. Can you explain more or talk more about this? Because I think it's important, because a lot of women do have those. And I think it's important to have point of views on this and various point of views on this, because I think we all deal with this one way or another, depending on, our history, our culture, where we are, and what's happening around us, what's happening in our life.
I think that I'm a person I'm a woman who doesn't take part in art life like a private parties or many openings and make contacts every day. What is really, really important in building our careers.
Yeah.
I found it as a problem that very often things which we have to say could be invisible if we don't have opportunity to give them additional impact by private contexts. it's quite difficult situation.
Yeah.
And I think that it's also normal that it's always like this. But I still think and believe that if we will do our work as an honest thing and we will stay with it, finally it will work. And I do it.
All these themes about femininity, the body, are very present in your work. And the fact that you use yourself and really express this is really an expression of our contemporary times. Can you talk about your work with After Beauty, also where you made this series of discarded beauty masks, and how you use those layers on your skin, and how you talk about that you use those layers up to a point that it was almost painful. And I'm interested in this relationship between the process and making the work that looks really good, and in the same time there's a lot of pain behind it, around it, which is also a mirror of how painful this pressure for women is in the society.
In my new works, I decided to start work on subject of beauty in femininity aspects, about the beauty market, and also about how our perceptions change in current world because of the Instagram, growing social media.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about all this stuff because I also feel it very personally, because I started to be the woman in her 30 years old, and so I should be every time ready and looks good and be present, have child's good job and makeup. So this is something which some expectation which society has to the women, but also. And I think that is for me also very, very important about the expectation which women have to the women. That many things we make also because of opinion of other women. So I'm also a person who has some problems with care about myself in a everyday life, like use the cosmetic every day 2 times and think about all these things which we need to do. So for me, it's something which I'm really next to, and I'm also like some kind of observator.
Yeah.
All these things gave me the interest to talk about the beauty and the beauty market and the process of prepare ourselves to be beauty. And in After Beauty series, I decided to use beauty masks as a material to make little sculptures, objects on the photo plan, and which after I photograph. What is important that before I make the objects, I put the mask on my face and use it as a normal, like in a normal process, like playing some kind of ritual. So I put the mask on my own face in a long process, one after one. After this, I use just the waist of the mask to build the objects. The traces of my face are hidden, so it's not so obvious that what kind of material it is. But it's also my aim because I would like to create some kind of impression.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
That your first impression is that you look at something which is very beautiful and pretty, and you don't have any deeper meaning about it. So my aim is create something that in the first impression is very beautiful, very pretty, and you don't have any deeper thoughts about it when you look at it.
Yeah.
Because I would like to give you just something which is nice in the aesthetic form, and you can read it as a kind of sculpture or different form of art. And for me, it's a talk about the beauty, about the what is beauty, why just the waste which could be awful started to be more constant object and more pretty than the aim of this material in the cosmetic process. So just about it. And also about our perception that we can stop just on this first layer, which is very nice, very pretty, colorful, and don't find the process which is behind the images, which for me is important, that the process is under the surface, not so obvious.
Yeah, totally makes sense, because when you look at them, it could almost be 3D made.
Yeah, also it could be one of the way of our perception about what is important, that they're just made on the photo plan.
Yeah.
So all the shapes are natural, and the color also are natural.
Yeah, and that's, for me, this idea of illusion is very important, because it's really beautiful, but you don't really know if it's real, not real. It raises a question, and what it is exactly. It's hard to identify if you don't know.
I think it's also really near to our reality today, that we are not sure what is real, what is after some surgeries or some makeups or something, or just the creation on the photography. So so I think that we can feel it in a full way in our current life, because of the many changes which we had in the past years.
Yeah, totally. This is really nice, actually. In your series Votive, can you talk a bit about it? Because there you're using wax on your body.
Yes.
In the process of the photo. And they're more close-up photos of body details, body parts. You come closer, even closer to your own body in a way, but you have this layer of protection on it, which is the wax. Your series Votive is about the human body as an object of devotion and commemoration. Because to me, it feels like we're getting closer and closer to your own body. It's getting more present, more close, more intimate in the photograph.
I really like your interpretation that the wax is some kind of protection layer. It's really interesting. For me, here the process is a little similar than in After Beauty series, but it's a next step. And here I also teaching some performative process in colorful images, which are more sweet and more aesthetic than in After Beauty series. And I decided to use this aesthetic because I would like to use visual code, which is characteristic for the modern beauty industry. Because I would like to tell about the current oppression of feminine body, or about about the expectation and about the place of the feminine body in current world. So this layer of wax as a protection is for me something very fresh thought, because I didn't think about it in this way before, but I think it's really, really nice. I use the wax mostly because I would like to show how we sacrifice ourselves in our everyday life to be fit, to be trendy, to look nice, to be beautiful as long as possible. So I decided to use a wax as a material which gives the connection with religion, with the process of sacrificing, when we can buy some part of body made in wax, and after it burn it in fire, and it's still possible in the Christian tradition. And also, of course, this is the historic context of the votive figures and offering and making the figures of whole body and just take it to the church in the intention for something, or to pray or to thanks. I use a wax because this is my sacrifice of my body to this new God beauty. Of course, it's an artistic gesture, but a gesture which has inside the powerful meaning about what we do in our everyday life. Also, here I play with contrast in the visible performative process. The contrast between the sweet image and painful and dangerous, quite a dangerous process of pouring hot wax on your face, eyes, and body.
So you get really involved physically in your art.
And I think that it's also my future. Because I feel that in my situation it's really, for me, it's a really honest way. And that when I feel that it's honest, I think it's right.
Well, you know what I like about this whole process of yours is that I feel you are really honoring your life experiences with your art. It's really not about escaping, not about pretending that things didn't happen. It's really honoring and staying present to who you are and your life experiences, and honoring this. And I think this is really important. A part of it has to be healing, don't you think?
I try don't think about it, but it's possible that it's a part of process. It could be some kind of result, but it's not the aim.
Because a lot of artists use their art to heal themselves. I think this is so important nowadays to really stop and really feel our experiences, really take them and honor them, because some of them they're not planned. Life just happens. So I think this is really, really neat and really important. Do you have a last thing you would like to talk about, or something you learned, an advice you would like to share?
I think that what you said about to be honest and to feel that the things which you would like to talk about and the way how you talk about it's true. I think it's very important in all things which we do, not just in art, but also in all life.
Yeah.
And I think that we live in the world where so many art and so many lies are not filled with truth. So I think that that it's really, really important to have this in our own private life.
Yeah, totally. I agree. So what are you working on now?
Now I'm developing the Votive figure series.
Yeah.
I try to make some works in interiors, not just in very small plants in studio.
Yeah.
So I hope that in the end of I could show the new work, which with the second part, the finish of the Votive figure. And also I have a big plan for next year for a new series, but maybe I don't talk about it now.
Yeah, okay, Marta, thank you so much. This was really nice.
Thanks.
And yeah, thanks for opening up to us and sharing your path and experiences and process. On Display is produced by Raw and Radical, an inspirational movement, resource and community for women who want to be creative and live a creative life. You can find out more about the artists on this series by going to rawradical.com. Please leave us a comment and a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. It truly helps other people discover the show. Please visit us and subscribe to our newsletter to get updates and more goodies. I am Maren Brodberg. Thanks for listening.